You join me here as I am planting my seeds. However, I keep having one problem. I keep running out of lily pads of fertility. And there is a way you can make them without nature's aura, which I haven't shown you yet, but I'm going to show you now. And it's using mystical agriculture. So you can see I've sort of set up a automatic device here. However, I keep running out of vibranium because we need the vibranium plate. But that's 4 vibranium per plate. And I've been mining and spent many hours trying to mine vibranium. I've probably collected about 16 to 17 stacks worth through mining, and I can't lie, I'm getting a little bit bored. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is setting an automatic way of getting that vibranium ore using the laser drills from Industrial Foregoing. However, I know this thing needs power, and I would like to pat myself on the back because we've got to episode 14 without using any sort of power, but the time has come. The power that we're going to be going for is the thermo generators. Why? Because I got one from a reward a while back, so we might as well use it. But before we go any further into the video, make sure you like and subscribe. You done it? Good. Now, this thermo generator, you put lava underneath and water inside of the thermo generator to keep it cool, and it'll start generating you power. Now, we have a basic one. Doesn't generate too much power, but it'll generate enough for what we're going to be needing to generate now. And when you put lava underneath, it only generates 40 Fe per tick, which isn't great. However, I know of a resource that can make this go 9 times quicker and generate 9 times more E. So we're going to be using that. And to get it, we're going to need to go to the other and find a resource underground called soul lava. And once we have our soul lava, we can put it underneath the thermo generator and it will generate 900% more power. So it went from 40 to about 360 Fe per tick. However, for the laser drill, basic thermo generator won't be enough. So we're going to make another thermo generator today, and we're going to try and make it as high as we can possibly go. Not nitro. I don't think we're going to go spirited. I think niotic would be perfect. And to get up to that stage, we're going to need to make the energizing orb. So we're going to need the energizing orb itself and the energizing rods. Link this up with power, and then we can start getting resources like energized steel by mixing gold and iron with 10,000 Fe in the energizing orb, and it'll give you 2 energized steel. We will then do the same thing by putting in a blaze rod and 120,000 Fe to then get a blazing crystal, which is the next tier up from energized steel. And the next tier up from blazing crystal is niotic, which is just a diamond, and 300,000 Fe we'll get a niotic crystal. Now the next tier after niotic is spirited, and spirited is just an emerald with 1 million Fe to get a spirited crystal. But you'll see it does take a while to get the 1 million Fe just off this basic, so we're going to stick to niotic for now. Because even with the soul lava, it'll still generate a few thousand Fe per tick, which is going to be more than enough for the laser drills. So I'll come back with you once I've got the niotic thermo generator, and we can finally start Industrial Foregoing. Now that I have the niotic thermo generator, a sink for infinite water, and some ultimate universal cable, which I got from a reward, we can now start Industrial Foregoing. The first thing we need from Industrial Foregoing is the latex, which we can get by using the fluid extractor on a log of any kind. It's ideal if you have more than one of these because they are pretty slow. And we're going to want a jumbo tank as well to put the latex into. And when claiming the rewards, we got really lucky and it gave us some plastic. So we're going to use this plastic to make a block placer, so I don't have to keep placing down the logs myself. So with 4 plastic, 3 droppers, 1 redstone, and a pity machine frame, we have a block placer. Now this does require power, so I will have to hook this up to our thermo generator. I'm also going to put a chest full of logs above so it automatically gets fed. We'll chunk load this area and we'll leave it overnight to generate us some latex. And when we had woken up the next morning, we had 50 buckets in this jumbo tank. That's not the only fluid we're going to need. We're also going to need pink slime, which we get by using the mob slaughter factory. So I quickly made one of those, hooked it up with power because it needs power, And off camera, I pre-dug a pit with some mob fans ready for a spawner to go in with any non-hostile mob. In my case, I used wolves, and through the necessary upgrades in the spawner to make it work and work pretty quick. So with the mob spawner working wonders and we're getting a load of pink slime, we're now going to need a latex processing unit so we can use our latex to make dry rubber, which we then smelt to get our plastic. Now the laser drills that we're going to need, because we're going to make 4 of them, require a simple machine frame. And the ore laser base requires an advanced machine frame. And the way we get these is by making a dissolution chamber, hooking it up with some power, and filling in the necessary requirements. So for the simple machine frame, we need to use some of our latex, a pity machine frame, some plastic, nether bricks, iron, and a gold gear. And we're going to do this 4 times so that we can make our laser drills. Now that we have our laser drills, we can focus on making the ore laser base, which requires 2 plastic, advanced machine frame, a couple of netherite scrap, some gold, and a diamond gear with the pink slime, which we are now generating, and we'll get ourselves an advanced machine frame. And now we are ready to make our ore laser base. So with that said and done, we are now ready to set this machine up so that we can get automated vibranium. Now, when setting up the laser drill, you need to keep a few things in mind. One, I put it in the nether. If you're going to put it in the nether, it needs to be a whitelisted biome of crimson forest or a warped forest. I found a crimson forest. However, it needs to be above Y level 100, but below Y level 123. Now, there might be an optimum level in between those parameters, but I'm not too sure on that. I've just set it up within those parameters. You're also going to need a vibranium pickaxe to get the raw vibranium ore. Now, whether you can put fortune on the vibranium pickaxe to get extra ores, I don't know if that's how it works. Maybe that's something I can try off camera, but for now, I've not got any fortune levels on the vibranium pickaxe. So when it comes to setting up the thermo generator, we put our soul lava in the corner with thermo generator above the soul lava with the sink to one side with a pipe feeding the water into the thermo generator. Bang, that's that thing making power. And like I said, it generates 900% of its original value, which in this case, its normal value would be 300 FE per tick. With the multiplier, we get 2,700 FE per tick, which is more than enough to run this laser drill. With our power set up, we can now start setting up the laser drill. So the ore laser base goes in the middle, and your laser drills go round the outside. Ideally, what you should do, what I didn't do, is leave a 1 gap space between all the laser drills from the ore laser base, because I'm going to have an issue now where I've got to run the piping from the ore laser base to a trash can and an ender chest underneath where it could possibly get blown up by gas. One thing you got to make sure the laser drills are facing the correct way. So you want to see the circle with a cross and some sort of like ender pearl like texture on the top. Once that was done, we could then hook it up with power with our ultimate universal cables, throw in our vibranium pickaxe, and you'll see we didn't get vibranium off the start because vibranium is a random chance. It's not 100%. It's sometimes you might get some nether quartz, sometimes you might get some iron, sometimes you might get some diamond, copper, blah blah blah, but you will get vibranium. It can just take up to a minute. So now that I know I've set this up correctly, I'm now going to make some upgrades for it. So tier 2 upgrades of efficiency, speed, and processing, which are as follows. They all require these basic things of 2 diamond gears, 2 redstone, 2 glass panes, However, the processing one uses a furnace and a crafting table with a bucket of latex. The efficiency one uses 2 blaze rods and a bucket of latex. And the speed uses 2 sugar and a bucket of latex. And with those upgrades made, we'll then simply head back on over to our Vibranium setup and throw those in the machine. However, the Ort Laser base only takes the efficiency upgrade, so I managed to throw the other 2 upgrades in one of the laser drills, and I will make all the other upgrades for those off camera. And with those upgrades being made, all put in, ready to go, we're now going to pipe this up. Like I said, I'm going to have to pipe them from underneath, going into a trash can, where I'm going to blacklist the Vibranium, because I do not want to be getting rid of that at all. Everything else can go, and in the ender chest will only be Vibranium. On the other side of that ender chest, we're going to put a drawer with maxed out upgrades, so when I'm not on the server, this thing will keep going, and we won't ever max out that drawer. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you automate the Vibranium process. If you have enjoyed today's episode, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new around here and you want to subscribe, please do. That would be amazing, and I'll hopefully see you all again very, very soon. Goodbye.